Welcome to Board Ghost, a story broadcast with games as the engine.
If living is a highway, then heaven is a bus stop. Been waiting for a minute there, but has it been forever? 'Cause dying don't agree with me, no.
We believe you're out there, hungry for stories for shared experience. We can't see you, can't hear you, yet we will play for you. This night's offering is a continuation of our game of The Final Girl by designer Brett Gillen. To learn how we generate stories playing games of The Final Girl, go check out our The Final Girl Rules Primer. Our humble players, myself, John Holt, with me.
Ken Breeze.
D. Gailey.
Chris Bernal.
All right.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. So we are continuing our tale of space slug symbiote horror in modern-day Amsterdam near a red light area. We have so far killed a handful of people. I'd say we started with, 16, and we're down to 10. So 6 dead in the first one, and we're going to kill 9 more in this half. So let's get right into it.
So I think this next scene is in the red light district itself at some sort of medicinal corner store, like a glass shop or a dispensary, substance needs you might have, other more particular needs depending on which character has walked in.
I'll be Brom, the bag.
I'm going to be Kirsten.
I'm going to have to be Lars, I guess.
Kirsten is talking to the proprietor of this shop. She is sort of bedraggled. She's crying. She's like, you guys sold me some really fucked up shit. I'm having a really hard time here, man. Like, I don't know what was in that stuff.
Oh, hey, listen, Bjorn, I'll help this young lady. I'll help her. Come with me. I'm Brom. I work with the people who own this place. We'll get this all sorted out for you.
You got to help me, man. Like, this shit is awful.
Oh,
I'm having the
tell me
worst
about it.
time.
You know what? I've got a place around the corner where I have from friends of mine, some girls clean up. They may have some tissues, some makeup. Will get you in some better shape. You've had a long night. You look pretty rough.
Lars busts in. He seems to have like this smartphone that has been modded so that it's like a big screen, almost like a tablet, basically, that he sort of has a tube on that he's holding on. He's looking wildly around, saying, "You all need to get out of here. You need to get out of here right now."
Oh, girl, listen, this is something that'll cheer you up. Look at this clown man. Hey, clown man. Look at this clown man.
Hey, buddy, I'm not even joking. If you don't clear this area soon, you're going to be in a world of hurt.
This wacky man believes that there are little green guys that will come and take you away. Oh, take you away, huh, clown man?
I don't know if they're going to be green, but something's going to happen, and it's coming soon.
I don't know. Like, what do you mean, man? I've seen some fucked up shit tonight.
Like spaceship and guys that will come and take you to space and make you, work for them, okay?
What? No.
I read your cartoon blog. It's pretty funny.
Oh, man, you've been reading my blog. The blog was right. It was on the right track, but we had it totally twisted around.
This is chewed up. This like clown man, he walks around, he spouts this bullshit. Everybody
hey,
gets
you.
it. It's
Everything
a big
is
laugh.
true. Your brain has been twisted.
Okay, all right. Tell
by
me
the kleptocracy, man.
Oh yes, tell me. What was it about what was in the ocean? What is it about Atlantis and the Loch Ness monster?
What? No, Atlantis will rise again. But man, you won't even be able to see it because your mind has been twisted by Moloch, man. You're not. You need to wake up. You, man, I recognize you. You serve some twisted interests, man.
Listen, little girl. This guy. This is great. Lars, we'll see you later. Okay.
Hey.
Why don't you come with me?
Don't go with him. This guy's gonna get you into a world of trouble.
Oh, no, listen, you don't want to be mixed up with this clown. You don't want to be caught here. It's late at night. You're a girl alone. The safest thing is you come with me. You'll be with some other women. We'll keep you safe, okay?
I don't know. Like, all this screaming, man. Like, this is too much for me.
I know. We'll go someplace quiet, all right? You get you some tea, get you some coffee.
It's at that point that in the street there's a car screeching of like tires, and in Dutch someone shouts out, "Get out of the road!" If you look out the window, you can just see this dark figure just limping down the middle of the street.
My instrument starts to beep, 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 beep. We gotta go right now. Come on, you. I don't know you, but I'm gonna save you.
No, don't. If there's some accident outside, you don't want to go outside. Come on, stay here with me.
I don't know what to do. It's too much. It's too much. I can't take it. She's crying.
Don't you understand? That thing out there is the culmination of years of government work. It's come to destroy all of us.
Before you know it, there's a wet slap on the window.
What is that?
And through her long dark hair, you can see Isabel, and she's staring straight at Bram.
Oh, it's that. Oh, it's her, of course. This crazy lady. She comes here. She's the disease lady, we call her. Huh? Look at her. See what this is what you get.
She has written a wonderful treatise on flat Earth, and you really need to read it before you should discount the science.
Her
really.
hand's just banging against the window.
Something's not right. I'm telling you, we need to get out of here right now.
Is there a back door? I can't take this. I gotta get out of here.
And then a moment later, crash! She puts her fist through the glass and begins crawling up over the jagged frame of the window, staring again straight at Bram. Her mouth opens up, and those tentacles shoot out at him.
Bram, this is not his first rodeo, okay? He pulls a box of prophylactics off the shelf, like a case of them, and flings them up into the air. The box is exploded by the tentacles as Bram dives for the floor.
Isabel's form just kind of like looks up. You can barely make out her eyes, but her wet, greasy-looking hair, and she like just casts her gaze. You can see that like from where she is on all fours on the ground, it's almost like water is coming out of her pores and like starting to flood the space around her.
Kirsten is like furiously trying to like run to the back of the store, find like a back door, some way she can get out.
As soon as you move, like Isabel's head darts up, like tracking your motion, and she just like starts scrabbling across the linoleum towards you to grab at your ankles.
No, Isa, what happened to you?
What is this thing? As Isabel like comes toward her, Kirsten finds like this back door, and she's struggling with the deadbolt, and she gets it open and jerks open the door, and she pulls it closed after her before the killer can get her.
Yeah, so she like there's a thud as she slams up against the door, and then just turns around and sees Lars. Just like kind of staring at her. And
Lars is dressed in this cyberpunk getup, headphones that are dangling from his ears, and he's wearing leather as well. He has spikes in the sort of the shoulders of his leather jacket, and he's like, "Isa, no, it's me, Lars. You know me."
she just slowly like thuds her feet, walking towards you. You realize now that she's barefoot, just walking around.
What happened to you? It got you. He attempts to like grab a glass bong and like swing it upside down towards her head to ward her off.
When he turns around, she's right there in his face.
And luckily it shatters on her head, just tearing across her and just like shredding her skin as instead of blood, just like this almost like viscous
black ooze issues out from within her skin. Almost seems a little panicked, like looking around the room, and then sees Bram once more on the floor, and this time she even says his name. Bram.
You're crazy, lady. You're crazy.
Run, girl, run!
And
Out
she
the
goes
back door!
to grab him.
She goes to grab him, and he pulls. That's when he pulls a gun.
Oh.
Yup.
Fires like a tight 5, like tum tum tum.
Yeah.
The momentum of that, like her coming towards him, is stopped.
And she like literally just falls backwards to the ground, that water like still pouring out of her. And it's at that moment, the water is like going towards this drain in the middle of the floor. That those who are left in the room, there's this red-black, almost like eel or slug that's quickly following the current of the water and into the drain and gone.
So Kirsten found the basement. So as she opens the
Okay.
door and runs through it, she tumbles down a set of stairs into what is like a basement, like storage area.
You hear like a drip, drip, drip from water coming from up above, and then like the drips turn into a little like something heavier, and just after a moment, there's something crawling up your leg.
So Kirsten, she like tumbles down the stairs and then is feeling this like slimy thing on her. And she's like, ew, 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 when does it get it off? And she's like whacking it on the ground. And she's like flailing around, grabbing at stuff. And she grabs like another glass bong that's down there. And she's like swatting at the thing on her leg, smacking it away.
Okay, back upstairs. 2 more slugs
Oh.
come out of Isabel's corpse
Oh.
and head towards both of you, like straight towards Lars.
Yeah, and as it does, he takes the already shattered half of the bong and just brings it down in one smooth motion to cut the slug in half. As he looks behind him, the way the girl went down the stairs into the basement, as he rushes after her, saying, "Where are you?"
I'm down here. Help. Help. There's slimy things. I can't tell what's real. Help me.
Stay calm! I swear there's a way to destroy these things. I wrote about it in my blog.
Well, there was one more slug that came from the body, so Brahm,
He's sort of backed against the wall, like gun still out.
it's just slithering its way towards the closest like source of warmth.
Brom leaps up. He leaps to his feet and grabs a tube of some sort of soothing ointment, like a hemorrhoid cream, basically, and he squeezes it and sprays it all over this thing. The icy hot coolness, soothing nature of it confuses the senses of the
Sure.
slug for a moment.
It's at that moment the front door and the back door both blow in. On one end, there's Brad, the architect.
No!
And on the other end, there's Bunz.
No!
Both of these large, bedraggled, wet figures emerge into the room. Bunz in the back heads straight downstairs as if it knows, and it just goes to like throttle the first person that he sees with his tentacles. I'll target Lars.
Yeah, the tentacles take Lars. He is totally surprised. The back door explodes open. He barely is able to turn his head around as this bedraggled, huge figure of Boone's body just sort of envelops him, tentacles
Wrap around
driving
his
him
head
down
and
to
push
the
him
ground.
down.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, "Blah!"
Yeah, and you hear more shots upstairs, and Kirsten's backed up against the wall, and there's a little like those windows that are in basements, and a pair of arms pull Kirsten up out of the basement.
Wow.
She's
Don't forget to
safe
put
with
another-
Brom.
Wow.
This is Yanel's place of work, right? The red light is on. She's in business. She just is cleaning up from a client having left, and she has a regular booked. She doesn't know when he's going to come by, but she's heard some more voices in the front and knows that she may have some callers. Her bell rang. So this is Yanel's place of work. She doesn't have to be there, though, but it's where she works.
Who did you grab?
I took a horse, the Plucky Street Cat.
Like a street cat.
So I think I'm going to take Becka,
Okay.
the smart sorority president. And she's the one knocking on the door.
Mm-hmm. You're sort of in the front. As Yanel comes out from the back of the suite and is dressed in this sort of cat suit, tights that go up all the way up to her thighs, and her hair is up. Her makeup she just redid just recently as she comes out, and she sees this cat slipping in behind this young girl or younger woman.
Hello. Hi. I'm Becka.
I am Yanel. Welcome.
Never done this before.
I can tell.
I'm not really here for pleasure.
You don't want to play, you just want to talk?
I want to learn.
You just want to talk.
Well, there's this guy,
Of course.
and I just
there
don't know how to get his attention.
is. Well, you're lucky. I am a coach.
I saw the sign. It seemed like a cute shop.
I can give you a good rate. What's your name?
Becca.
Becca. You said that already.
And yours?
I am Yanel.
That's a nice name.
Come on, sit down. Do you want something to drink?
Sure.
Oh, who's your friend here? Nice pussy.
Excuse me?
Horace shakes himself off and begins to fastidiously sort of like clean
What
himself.
fur color does Horace fur?
I think he's like a blackish tabby.
blackish tabby. Cool.
Or maybe like like those tortoiseshell
Calico,
cats.
yeah.
Oh, you meant the cat.
It's not yours?
No, I've never seen him.
Well, he looks very wet. Come here, little boy. I will warm you up. See? Oh.
There's a sort of like a gentle red light coming from outside. There's a warm lamp light in here. It's very cozy. Tea is set. The light, though, the red light is obscured from a hulking figure that's backlit that comes to the window.
Yanel's head, like on a swivel, just snaps around to look up.
Horace the cat hisses.
She assumes it's a real customer, not this little girl who's come to explore this side of life. And she's wondering how she's going to juggle all this business.
The door, it's sort of fumbling, like the hand is unsure what it's doing, but eventually the knob turns very slowly.
The cat like jumps out of Yanel's arms, and then all of the hackles are up, and it's hissing at the door.
Whoa, that's weird.
You may have to wait, girl.
The door opens, and still in shadow, not stepping into the room yet, still with just the backlight, you hear
Come
the,
in,
the
monsieur.
voice of Bunz saying,
Come in. Oh,
now,
Bunz.
hello. I'm here for our date.
Oh, I didn't realize I was intruding.
That's okay. I had someone who was waiting for them to arrive, but I thought we'd have enough time to talk. If you don't mind waiting a little bit, you and your little pussy can stay out here and have some hot tea.
Okay, I'm not in a hurry.
Great. I'll
You
see
should
in a-
all stay. And that's when we'll go
Bunz.
to bed.
Bunz.
So, stepping into the lamplight now, you see like blood is covering Bunz. His shirt is torn off, his chest glistening with blood. He's a sight to behold.
Becca just screams. Yeah.
The attention of the cat draws the eyes, and Bunz's teeth bares, and any sort of like human movement that it was trying to mimic before is shed as it begins to drop to all fours and crouch and roar at
Oh my
Horace
God.
and leaps for Horace.
Ooh,
Totally sees the movements of this beast, and he leaps up and out of the way onto a high shelf where he continues to yowl.
Yeah. Bunz crashes through the table. The tea goes spilling, and it spins, and massive arms reach to either side and grab at
Holy
Becca
shit.
and Yanel.
Yanel has been smashed backwards as the table was destroyed, but she scampers up and over to one of the tables next to a reading chair, and opening one of the drawers takes out a taser that she uses to tase this arm as it comes at her.
And it begins to shake and contort. And
Yeah, Becca just holy shit, and like goes to the door and is just like fumbling for the latch, just completely out of control of her muscles.
electricity shooting through this thing. It's convulsing and twisting on the floor, and its body, its massive
Yeah.
form still. Bunz is a big guy, knocks the bookshelf that the cat's on, and the bookshelf is now falling right towards you.
Yeah.
You as well. So you're both in this
Horace
one
is meow, falling off
target of
it.
this.
I leap out of the way as Yanel is like, God help me! She is able to hang on to her taser, but it is not active as she crashes to the ground, books scattering everywhere.
Horace, as the shelf is knocked away, jumps wildly and lands on Becca's shoulder. And it continues to like hiss fiercely at the creature.
I'm sure his claws are like digging in.
Yeah.
And yeah, in one shoulder the claws are digging in, but on the other shoulder a hand lands on you, and you're pulled sideways to the face of this bleeding eyes, black ichor mouth of a male woman, a postal carrier.
Oh no. Okay.
Attacking Becca.
Attacking Becca, and so Becca is pulled out of the door of
Maud.
the place. Horace leaps free of the shoulder as Maud envelops Becca in her arms and brings her mouth down on her face.
Interrupting her
And
scream.
is swallowed and choked out of her.
Yanel sweeps up Horace and dashes off into the night. There is general state of alertness in the district, in the area. The police are out more. Panic groups that have been gathering in certain areas that the police are having to deal with. Looting has begun in certain places that the police are having to deal with. And I think that's where we find ourselves, on like these chaotic streets, specifically in the midst of a impromptu looting session that the police are trying to contain.
But who do you want to be?
I think I might grab Geoff,
Okay.
the MBA student.
I am going to grab Uwe, the German astrophysicist.
I'll take Steve.
The sirens are wailing. You're seeing some crazy shit going down right now. There's people who are rushing in and out of the smashed windows of a nearby electronics store. The police have just shown up.
Officer, this is not safe. I work for the government. I'm an astrophysicist. Come. I can help stop this. This isn't. We need to get these people off the streets.
That's exactly right. We need to get them off the streets. Stop that!
Don't even worry about the looting. Just tell them to get inside.
We're trying to contain it. It's being contained, sir. You need to get back inside.
You children, what are you doing out?
Steve, I'm so glad I found you.
I've been trying to find Becca and Kirsten. I can't find them anywhere. I don't know what's going on. What's going on?
This is why we should have stuck to the itinerary. We shouldn't have done any of this crazy partying stuff that you all wanted to do.
There's no time for that, Geoff. Why do you always have to keep going back to this stuff that has no... We're not worried about that now. We need to talk about getting out of here. We need to find our friends, and we need to stop caring so much about your fucking itineraries.
It would just be nice every once in a while if you could admit that I was correct.
You're not, man.
Children, young people, what are you doing on the streets? It's not safe.
We're trying to find our friends. Like, have you seen them? They're two girls.
We walked around the corner and they're gone.
Hopefully the police are getting them inside. Come on. We need to get inside.
What's nearby?
Our hotel is like 20 blocks away. We can't
I
find
have
our
a-
friends.
I have a friend. He's a little eccentric, but his place is right nearby here. We'll go there.
Okay.
I don't. This guy. I guess he seems trustworthy. I don't know.
Well, you're just talking to the cops. It can't be that bad.
Listen, you don't want to be out here with the looters. The cops will deal with them. If your hotel is that far, come with me. Come with me. I'll get you someplace safe, someplace quiet.
Well, we can't leave the area anyway, so we might as well get out of the crowd.
All right. Let's go with them. Have you seen our friends? You know, the Kirsten. She's like, I don't know. She's really bubbly, like big eyes.
All you
Becca.
tourists look the same.
And as the group is sort of rushing away from the chaotic scene of the looting that is now turning in more of a mass sort of arrest scene,
Mhm.
you're not really being paid attention to by the police anymore. Uva's doctor's sort of coat that he had on from the observatory gives him this sort of air of a expert, a scientist. His flat he's taking you to is nearby. However, outside of it, it looks like there are two figures who are sort of trying to like slam their arms against like the glass entryway to get into the bottom floor. It's much like any other sort of European apartment building, much like New York City as well, or any other metropolitan city, right, where there's like a big public bottom floor where there might be an elevator and mail and stuff like that. And they're sort of smashing their arms against like this front door. And
Lars, is that you?
It is. It is, in fact, Lars. As Lars turns around.
He's a fool. This is his place I was taking you to. He's probably forgotten his keys again.
Uva, the dinosaurs were buried.
I'm so sorry. Like I said, he's a little eccentric.
Yeah, this is why I don't like coming to Europe.
God, Jeff, you're so selfish.
It's
like,
weird.
If you hadn't been so concerned about your stupid itinerary and you've been hanging out with the group, with our friends, maybe they wouldn't be lost right now.
If you hadn't been so obsessed with getting fucked up, we would be sitting cozy in our hotel room.
Children, come on, Lars, let's go inside.
The other figure looks familiar to our friends Geoff and Steve. The sorority crest that's on her jacket is very clear.
Wait.
To see.
Jeff, shut up. I think that's Becka.
As she
Oh,
says,
it's one of your bubbly tourists.
Itineraries suck. And as they sort of turn around, you can see that there are these red rash that seems to have taken over most of their face and neck, like with these growths underneath them that are pressing against their skin and making them look very misshapen.
Oh
What
my
the
God,
fuck did you
Becka.
take, Becca?
Tentacles start writhing out of their mouths and their nostrils and slipping out of their ears. They are lunging for Uva and Geoff. As Becca attempts to take Geoff to the ground and Lars attempts to take Uva to the ground.
Jeff, like, sees her coming towards him. He's just like, I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and just punches her in the forehead.
She just says, just is knocked totally backwards.
Oh my
and
God,
off-
Jeff, what are you doing?
off
deserves it.
balance and smack on her ass on the ground.
That's our friend.
Time
Your friend.
slows, and we zoom in on Uva's face, and you see calculations flying at camera as their German astrophysicist brain starts firing. And with just the barest motion, they make an arc motion of their body, and the assailant flies past
Right
them.
past them, smashing into some trash cans behind them. They're sort of trying to recover. You instinctually, Steve, are sort of moving towards your old friend as she looks up at you with these pleading eyes for a second.
I know, and Steve is feeling like very upset. He has just seen fucking Jeff punch his best friend. He punches Jeff because they are screwing, and he's very upset.
So
Steve, and Steve is friends with Becca.
You punch Jeff into Becca.
So what happened here is that D just strengthened the villain against you. So my card already beats the villain's card. Now the villain's actually no, this is a king, right?
Yeah.
So this is going to get us both.
Yeah.
Because you've strengthened both of them.
Yeah.
So I see you punch your friend, and my calculations go out the window, and I trip and fall and roll.
Jeff just like looks up at Steve and he's like, "Babe, come on."
Oh! I roll, but again, time slows. Calculations. I put my hand in a certain place and spin, and my roll becomes a somersault, and I'm standing there fine.
As Becca, her hair starts to turn into like these weird tentacles, as well as like her face just opens up and she sort of envelops Jeff, saying, "You never had a chance in the business world."
And he's just like staring at Steve, like his hand outreached as he's being thrown into her.
And he's just being chomped on as the other two flee.
This is like a regrouping. Now Uva, the German scientist, has had up close and personal contact with this thing, with all the calculations that he had going on. He's like, I need to go back to the lab. I have to do some more research. I have to figure out what is going on with this thing. So I would imagine he calls up like some of his allies, and maybe he has managed to collect some people along the way.
I'm gonna grab Danielle.
I'll grab Horace.
I'll get Uva then. I'm telling you, I know what we need to do. We can irradiate the forms that are carrying the virus, and it should inoculate them somehow.
I just can't believe that there are more than one now. When I saw it attack Bunz earlier,
Horace rubs up against Daniel's leg and begins to scratch at your pants.
This cat. Why is it still here? Lars isn't even here.
Who knows where Lars is? Unfortunately, his corpse is somewhere in the city. But where he truly is, well, I can only hope. But this cat is all we have left of him. Come here, you beautiful animal.
That man was a fool, but no one deserves to die that way. I don't want to die that way, Uva. Please, we have to figure this out.
We are. I think if we are able to get these isotopes spread throughout the body of the infected, we may
That's
be
it. Horace
able
starts
to...
walking across the keyboard and like affecting your calculations.
No, bad Horace. No.
I told you, get that thing out of here.
Starts batting at a test tube.
No. Horace,
Mm-mm.
bad kitty. No, bad
Biohazard
kitty.
symbol on it.
So she might go over and like pick up the cat by the scruff of the neck. And just goes over to a window, opens it up, and puts it out on the fire escape.
Very well.
And she turns around, leaving the window open.
We will require the aid of the authorities, though. Have you contacted them?
I've talked to my sources at the police department, but with all the looting and riots that are happening in the red light now, it's hard for them to gather resources on.
They must listen to us. Perhaps we can make contact with some governmental minister. Perhaps this
tried. I've
economic
called everyone.
summit has someone in town.
Darling, I think it's the only way is if we leave Amsterdam now.
We cannot leave Amsterdam. We must save Amsterdam. Danielle,
I don't know.
we are responsible for this.
Why? I mean, yes, we have a fiduciary responsibility, but
A moral responsibility to save this town and these people.
I don't want to die. What I saw was awful.
Lars is already dead.
And
All that's left of him is this cat. And goes to the window and takes it out again and brings it into his arms.
I hate it.
Just then, there is this particular ringtone on Uva's phone. Do 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 do. Lars X-Files ringtone. You know that
course.
whenever he calls.
Of course.
On
Oh,
the
it's
cover.
Lars.
Wait.
Sick. Wait. Lars is...
Do do.
She grabs your hand and she's like, "Don't answer it."
I'm not afraid. Who is this?
She's clutching onto your shoulder.
On the other line, it's just like,
Lars? Lars, is that you?
Hang up. No.
We're going to destroy you! We're not afraid of you!
come with us. And then from outside, you hear like,
Your end is coming!
It's the front door buzzer.
Okay, it's police. They said they were coming soon. Will you go with me to answer it?
Do you have any weapons here?
Not that I know of. But she reaches into her purse. She pulls out some mace.
And Uva takes a big telescope like a club into his hands.
Oh, that's worth so much money.
Shut up!
The front door is buzzing again.
And Horace is climbing up Danielle's back.
And then the cell phone starts ringing again with the X-Files theme.
No.
All of a sudden, there's a crash
Ah!
from the fire escape. And as you turn, you see the glow of a cell phone.
No!
And it's lighting up the black and bloated face of Lars.
No!
But instead of the slim and nerd-like figure that you know so well, from the body is huge, and you see like there's hair sticking out of it, and there's amorphous, and then you see in the glow of the cell phone there's another head and another head, and it's the heads of your friends and your compatriots.
Oh my god, it's morphing.
And the cat is like digging its claws and scratching at Danielle's head and face, trying to climb onto the top of her head.
The figure just drops the cell phone, and it shatters, and it rushes all three of you.
Oh no. Danielle just literally scrabbles back. I think she's going to reach up, and she takes Horace, just drops him on the ground.
She tries to drop him on the ground, but Horace gets the claws sunk in and is just basically on your arm as you flail and try to get away from both this thing and the cat that's losing it.
Uva swings hard with the telescope as it connects and cracks and squeals as it breaks in twain, but deflects the body, the large body that is hurtling towards him, even as he's knocked to the ground.
He is almost knocked to the ground.
Oh, Uva's knocked to the ground. I meant.
Uva's knocked to the ground. The monster is sort of turned away from with the shattering glass, and as it turns its body sideways, it stomps out a giant foot, aiming for Horace the cat.
No.
Horace leaps onto Danielle's head again. Scrabbles and scratches at her face, mewling and
His stompy foot misses, and the monster sort of turned away now, and it rears back with like a backhand fist aiming for the scientists, the German scientists.
Uva. Yeah, Uva is not going to be able to make it, unfortunately.
So Danielle has a relationship with him.
Oh, yeah, we're screwing.
So that means I can help her hurt, essentially. She would definitely help. She, at that point,
A better card than
she
the-
starts macing the creature. Get away from him!
Nice.
The monster like claps a few arms to its various eyes and starts to just blindly like reach out for Danielle.
Yeah, but she is just like holding the mace down, walking backwards. And
she walks backwards, and Horace is right underfoot.
As Danielle is backing up, she's
But-
spraying mace.
But as she trips over Horace, her mace goes flying. But thankfully, Uva is right there to like catch her in both of his strong arms as he says, "We are going to survive this."
So now the German scientist is cradling Danielle, and Horace is scrambling away. You see the monster like in pain, clutching its eyes, and all of a sudden it just stops. And out of the back of it emerges this like giant series of tentacles, black ooze that starts furiously waving in the air. And then from the tentacles sprouts a series of mouths, and they're spraying the black ooze
No.
over everyone.
all the equipment.
Horace ducks behind a cabinet and is safe.
He's safe. So he doesn't get any of the goo on him. He's behind.
As soon as Uva caught her, she like sprang up out of his grasp, inspired with courage, and she runs for the door. And then she's out in the hallway and like turns to make sure that he's following.
And he is following, but he trips and he collapses to the ground. And as he tries to look back, it looks like black ooze is about to be sprayed all over him.
What happened?
Danielle, makes it out into the corridor, and Uva, as the sort of like a little older, less spry person, kind of like trips over his own pant legs, and he's covered in the goo and sort of sliming and slithering around, and the monstrous form like clomp, clomp, clomps up to him. And Yuva kind of turns around from down on the ground, and he's looking up. And he's got his hands like raised, like no.
Nine.
And this giant form just like
Gotten Himmel.
tips over and completely engulfs.
It was
So
Uva,
she's running.
Danielle is
Yeah,
running
no,
away.
She's running, gone.
And Horace is safe.
I survived. I think we're back out on the streets. Police have started rounding up people, the looters that are taking advantage of the chaos. In between barricades, there are a few streets and alleyways that are empty just because the police are stopping people from going down those roads, and caught in between in the sort of quarantine zone along the Rue de la Rouge Tulip. Our characters run into each other along the canal.
I haven't played Steve, so I will play Steve, the effeminate tennis player.
I gotta play Kirsten again.
Love Kirsten so much. I think that means I'm thinking Bram.
So Kirsten is just running along. I think she's with Bram. Bram
Yeah.
saved her,
Yeah,
pulling
that's right.
her out from the basement. And so she's kind of like,
Don't worry, I'll get you to my safe house. We can clean ourselves up there. Food.
Kristen!
Drink.
Oh my God, Kristen!
Oh, who's this?
oh my God,
Friend of
Steve!
yours?
Who's this?
Hey, don't come too close to us.
No,
Get
this
away
is my
from her.
friend. Steve, oh my God, I can't believe it's you. Everything's so horrible. Where's everyone else?
Oh my God. Something got Geoff. Oh my God. Jeff's gone. Oh, and Becka died too.
Many people died tonight.
What about, did you see that there was this woman? I met her tonight at the wedding. She was tall, brown hair, very elegant. Did you see her?
I don't know. Like I said, Jeff's dead. I saw there's a big,
Well, nobody really likes Geoff, though.
what?
We have to keep moving. We can't stay out here on the street. You want to come with us?
No, it's not. I've gone with like 3 of these Amsterdam people and seen people die every time.
No
They're-
one has one of these, though, as he raises his gun.
Oh my God.
He saved me. He
He's not-
saved me
this
from the
isn't safe.
monster.
Nobody's supposed to have guns here. Are you a cop?
Yeah, I'm a cop. Come on, let's go.
Okay. You're really a cop?
Don't worry about it. We'll be safe soon.
As you're running along the street, there's this like shadow that passes overhead. Like directly in front of you lands the several-headed, limbed creature. And you can see Lars's face at the front, and in the back where these tentacles had originally sprouted out, they've merged together into these strange tentacular-like wings. And it just opens its mouth. Again, that spray of brackish water and slime comes out at all of you.
Bram dives into a nearby dumpster. The grasping tentacles smash into the thick metal of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Kirsten just screams, her eyes
Yeah.
wide in terror.
Yeah, there's something fascinating about like the way the spray is like coming right at her as it just like stops her scream and muffles it. Steve is grasping onto her, thinking about how it's his fault that Geoff is dead. As the slime grabs them both, pushing them backwards onto the ground. They're kind of flailing and writhing underneath this like black-green goo that's hardening very quickly. And the last thing we see is the multi-headed winged creature like descending on top of both of them, like flesh tearing.
Bram stays silent in the nearby dumpster.
Just listening to
Just
the
listening to this
the-
terror.
This is in Brahm's safe house. It is a quiet, soundproofed, and not quite like safe room, but like metal doored spot that overlooks the street above one of the red light houses. So one of the places of the window shops of business. This is on one of the floors above it. It's a little safe house. It's got some weapons, some money. It's a place where it's got some cots for women, and this is where Brahm sleeps as well. And there's a sink in here.
I could go either way. but I definitely think Bram and Yanel need to talk.
The cat.
You love being that cat.
He's definitely getting around.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you brought the cat. I've been waiting here for hours.
Yeah, it's
Horace-
kind of like slips in just in front.
Is everything
Horace
okay
knows
out there?
all the
There's-
Nothing's
it sounds
okay.
like it's some sort of festival. Is it a new holiday?
Bram is like clearly shaken. I mean, he had to wait for this creature to leave before like coming back to his place.
You don't have anyone with you? I thought you wanted me here to work.
No, you stupid girl. Everyone's dying and dead. There's some sort of beast out there that's flaying the town.
There's screams outside and sirens down the street.
He was like
and
pulling
a
out his
crash
gun,
at the end of the street.
checking his ammo, reloading. Click,
What
click.
is happening out there?
Horace jumps into Yanel's
Oh,
lap. And is
it will be all right, Fluffy. Don't matter.
Have you not seen, heard the madness? Some sort of beast or monster. It's nothing like I've seen before.
Monster. I've heard legends, monsters of the canals.
This. It's more than out of a storybook. This is something out of. Like
I will whip us up some of the Hexenschuss to make sure that we are protected.
Hexen shit. That's not going to help us. What's going to help us now is cold hard steel. And he cocks his gun again. Maybe grabs some ammo and like shoves it into his pockets.
Where do you want to go?
Oh, we stay here. Like maybe there's like they're in the basement. He's like peeking out like the little windows, looking around. Just
I'm so happy you're here to watch out for us. I will make the Hexenschuss.
Yeah. As you step over to your little supply cabinet, you start to notice you're splashing as you walk.
Oh no, I think we have a leak or something.
Horace jumps up onto Yanel's shoulder.
Yeah.
And, like,
The
his tail
sink
whipping around.
the sink is overflowing. Water's pouring.
Oh, a bad leak.
why did you leave that on?
I didn't, I swear.
Well, turn it off before the place floods.
I can't. I'm trying.
Just get the water, the water valve underneath.
As Janelle leans down from the counter, a red thing emerges from the water and goes right for her face.
Yanelle throws up her hands as she screams, and she catches it almost like a snake as it's trying to dart towards her, and she's holding it off the cords of her arms showing as her muscles are straining, and her mouth is just open, and she's screaming, and she sort of smashes to the ground, water splashing everywhere as her back sort of belly flops or back flops.
Yeah, and as her arms let go, and the thing flies through the air and is going directly to where the cat has sat on a cot.
Lawrence.
As the red, wormy, snaky thing flies through the air towards Horace, he grabs it in his mouth and he like does a little neck-a-breaky thing, shakes it around and like throws it away.
Yeah, throws it away right towards Bram, and it flings right towards him.
He ducks out of the way. He's been watching this unfold, freaking out.
And as he ducks, he smashes, unfortunately, into Yanil, who's waiting, and she shoves him towards the red, twisting creature.
You
For
dirty witch.
all the times that she has suffered his abuse.
Well, easy enough for him to just like grab her as she's shoving him, and they start struggling. And like the water's splashing up around, and he just tries to again shove her in the direction of that thing. It's not going to be me.
This worm thing at this point it's shaken and injured and scratched, and it just bursts and begins to fill the water with this like red writhing ichor. The water is becoming like it's spreading towards the two of you who are standing in the water.
You've made my life hell these past few months.
We smash through a flimsy bathroom door and go into a tub as like a shower curtain falls on top of us.
The window bursts in as a winged figure flies into the room. It sees this red that is actually already starting to like fade and lose its glow in the water, and roars with rage, and tentacles burst and wings smash at the walls, and massive fists reach at the only other living thing that's in the immediate room, Horace.
Yells, rah, rah, and, claws and bites and twists out of the way of these tentacles. And, he's fine.
Nice.
Totally fine.
There's this bedlam in the main room, and the shower turns itself on.
Ah!
And you're both laid in the tub when the first red slug shoots towards Yanel.
And she twists over adroitly, almost like a snake, as she gets Bram on top of her. And she's trying to go for his gun, even trying to take it away from him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the slug turns towards Bram now, pinned.
Ah!
Yeah. So his gun goes off as he's focused on dealing with Yanel, who's just been a pain in his side.
Yeah, and the slug burrows into his ear.
Ugh.
And he begins to scream. He grits his teeth, and they shatter from the strain and
Whoa.
pressure. And his eyes bulge out and burst, spraying Yanel with eye goo and blood.
Oh! She's just covered across her face, but she's screaming as she bolts upward, grabs Horace into her arms, and dashes away.
Into the night.
Into the night. There's only 3 now remain.
This will be the end game scene. Basically, we'll play until there's one of us left alive. Then we'll narrate out our endings.
The district is turned into like this empty wasteland. Like you 3 are walking almost in a daze down the road where there are like cars pulled over with the doors open and the lights on, and like police cars where the lights are flashing, but there's no police to be seen. Maybe in the distance you're hearing shots of gunfire, but in the area you're in, it's just empty. Like it's either been evacuated or everyone's been killed or whatever. You're definitely seeing bodies here and there on the streets. Things are on fire. Looks like a war zone, basically, that you're sort of walking through. You are trying to make your way out of here. You are near the border of the district. You can even see the church steeple that acts as the unofficial borderline of the district. And you think if you can get there, you'll be safe. You've even seen some helicopters landing near there, and that's where you're going now.
Look at our beautiful city. Look at what has become of it.
Meow.
Yanel has Horace in their arms as they stumble towards Danielle. Oh, Danielle, what is going on? This is madness.
Everyone is dead. Everyone. And look who is here at the end of the world. A whore and a stupid cat.
Yanel smacks Danielle and says, "This cat is very smart. And do not use this language with me. Who is worse, the sex worker or the attorney?"
It doesn't matter now. All of the other lawyers are dead. The courthouse is covered in goo. What I do doesn't matter.
Then stay here and die. Me and Horace will go live.
No, I have to live. I have to carry justice and law into the next phase of life after this horrible apocalypse.
And with that, the ground begins to shake as pow, pow, pow. Manhole covers that are nearby just explode upwards as if they are being highly pressurized. And then out of each of those manhole covers are giant tentacles that are just sort of exploding now out of the ground and almost pulling the cobblestones out of the ground around their bases as these huge, 20-foot tall tentacles are like smashing down on the ground, trying to just crush all of you. All right. The tentacles fall. As Yanel leaps.
Yanel leaps clear.
Leaps clear.
Danielle is going to kick off her high heels, her high-powered attorney heels, so she has some extra flexibility.
Nice.
She's able to dodge
Leaps
out of
out
the
of the
way.
Horace is in Yanel's arms, so he just stays put as she
Cradles to
dodges.
safety.
The
Yeah.
tentacles smash down onto the asphalt as the cars and mopeds and bodies are thrust up into the air with the force as they then crash back down. The tentacles begin like sweeping to the sides. You are seeing that wherever they're sweeping, they're leaving this residue on the ground, which are these red little slugs, which begin sort of crawling around everywhere. And a blanket of them, almost a carpet of them, tries to overtake Yanel and Horace.
Horace takes this opportunity to jump out of her arms, clear of the slugs.
And Yanel scrambles onto the hood of a car and begins kicking at the slugs that try to climb up towards her.
The chaotic thrashings of these huge tentacles have started like to ignite like leaking gas and stuff like that as this fiery explosion overtakes you, Danielle.
As the flames roll towards her, Danielle ducks into a car that still has keys, and she's able to turn it on and take cover as she prepares to kind of like drive away. She's going to try to make a run.
The car is steaming hot as the paint is melting off of it from this explosion, but also one of the tentacles has had a huge chunk blown out of it as it sort of is steaming and collapsing to the ground. The winged creature returns once again, having smashed out of a loft. It lands on sort of this corniced bay window, mirror glass shattering as it sort of leers from above and then leaps down trying to catch Horace.
Horace is caught.
Indeed. But not.
Yanel leaps from the car, grabbing Horace, and rolls just out of reach of the creature.
Indeed. The creature itself stops flying and simply starts to drop right on top of Yanel as it's grinning and laughing and unfurling its arms in a very hungry way.
She scrambles and leaps into the water of the canal.
Yes, she does. The creature smashes
Horace
into the
in hand.
ground, unheeding of its own pain as it snaps its own legs. Now, like, can't really move and is sort of lowing and moaning and screaming in pain, yelling in pain, as the carpet of red worms, red slugs, begins to infiltrate and infest the car that Danielle is in.
Danielle screams. She like starts the car and is furiously trying to like stamp out the worms, but she's like hitting the gas, hitting the brake.
She hits the gas as the car takes off. And as she feels the worms impaling her body in her neck and in her shoulders, she's like turning the wheel left and right chaotically. She's smashing through fire hydrants, water's shooting everywhere. And then she suddenly feels as if she is airborne as she goes off the side of one of the bridges that span the canals and smashes into the water. And so you jumped into the canal.
Yeah.
And so you...
Having grabbed me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're
Having
both
grabbed
in the
Horace.
canal. You're both in the canal. And Horace, you're hating life, being a wet kitty cat.
He's totally like on top of
but
her, like trying to stay
two
out of the
you
water.
start to feel all these different hands reaching for you and grasping for you. But they're the hands of children. They feel like tiny, small little hands that are trying to grasp you and pull you down further into the canal.
Horace is on top of Yanel's head, so if he can, he'll jump for Quay at some point.
Yeah, there's a nearby boat.
Tears pouring from her eyes, she makes it to this boat and pulls herself up out of the water.
Yeah, as the veritable horde of these infected children are like coming out of the water now, almost like piranha, just like a school of piranha coming at all of you.
Horace is like swiping at the hands with his claws.
Yeah, totally. And one of them tries to grab you by your tail, Horace. Yeah, and they do as they pull you into the water. And that with that final yell that's cut off with a burbling bubble, we know who our final girl is.
Well, I'll start, right?
Yeah.
Yanel, the last thing she hears, she closes her eyes, shuts it against the last. She doesn't want to see this last horror of this cat being torn apart and drowned. And so she falls back into the boat, covering her eyes and face, and the boat just drifts down the water. She's awakened hearing helicopters overhead, and she's like a surprise that she's alive. Relief floods her. She's clear of the city. She sees it burning behind her, and she still floats in this boat. There's detritus now, so the boat's sort of lodged, and she looks up towards the helicopters and begins to wave them down. And that's when they just pass right overhead. And you hear as the first of the firebombs falls on Amsterdam. That's my ending.
Oh,
What's
cool.
your ending?
As Yanel gets into the boat, kicking on the offboard motor and busting out of there, speedboating through canals as buildings are burning and collapsing into the canals and splashing water everywhere, and there's still chaos. Part of me sees her taking on the persona of Brahm and going back to the underworld in a different city.
Yeah, we see Yanel. It's that final scene. She's climbing into the gondola. She's just watched Horace be murdered. And yeah, she turns on that motor and she's speeding through the canals. And, she's getting out of the city. She's outside of Amsterdam, but she hears the bombs, the bombs falling. And she's just a single tear, is coming out. She's crying for her lost city, for all the people she left behind. We see her now. It's nightfall. She's out in the wilderness. She's got this little fire. She's just kind of sitting there. And after a time, she falls asleep in the darkness. She's kind of floating in this dreamland. She hears this whisper in the dark, and it says, "Us." And as she opens her eyes, the world has become tinged with red, and she looks down at herself, and she sees this blackness spreading across herself. But inside of her head, she hears the voices of all of those that she's lost, and she feels a little bit happy.
Falls back into the boat after Horace has been taken. She jolts back up, ready to look around, find a way out of here, when the surface of the water of the just ignites in flames. She can hear squealing, screaming from all the creatures inside the water, and just from around the district as a whole. And she's just kind of in the keel of the boat, shielding herself from the flames until some firefighters find her there, and they pull her out, and she's wrapped in that silver sheet that they put on people. She's kind of shivering and shaking. There's a montage. She does some therapy. She's in group circles talking about their shared experiences with this extraterrestrial. The government comes in and has them all sign NDAs about how you can't talk about this, until much, much later. She looks a little bit older, and she's back on the Rue de la Rouge Tulip. She is
Back on the
conducting
Rue.
a health fair in the same way that Isabel was. She's making sure that all of her old coworkers, if you will, are getting the medical needs that they deserve.
With that, our story ends. We will continue with a new tale to spin to dare to entertain. I was one of your players, John Holt. You can find me on Twitter at Lord Joho and on Instagram at board_ghost. Ken, where can people find you?
Board Ghost, find me, Ken, at Berling's Beard, BERLINGS Beard, Twitter, and my website at the same name. And definitely check out our Board Ghost Patreon as well. Would love to interact with you there and share some awesome stuff with you.
And I'm Dee Gailey. You can find me on Twitter. My handle is MXNURD. Let's talk about games and queer stuff and all kinds of awesome things.
All right.
I'm Chris Bernal. You can find me on Instagram at Crifu Bernal, ChrifUbernal. You can also find me on Twitch every Tuesday at twitch.tv/manapotstudios.
All right. Thank you both for being on again. Thanks for playing Final Girl with us. So to find out more about the players and engine in our story, go to boardghost.com. You can reach out to us or find us on Twitter at BoardGhostWorld. And tell people about the show. The more people who listen, the more these games will get known, and that's pretty sweet. So we'd like to thank Pat Couples for our theme song and interlude music. You can find more about Pat at patcouples.tumblr.com or on his band's website, hotelsandhighways.com. If you're not alone in the void, share our stories. The more they are consumed, the truer they become.
Dying don't agree with me.